Hi, and welcome to Horror Recapped. Today we're going to be discussing the 2020 American thriller and horror movie directed by Travis Clough and Chris Loafing, titled Held. Warning, spoilers ahead. Enjoy. The movie begins in a deserted car park where two guys and a girl lay wasted, drinking beer in a car. The girl's giggling stops when one of the men winds up the windows and locks the car doors. A terrified girl asks what's going on as she shuts her eyes when the other guy trails his hands on her thighs. The film then cuts to a woman named Emma in the passenger seat of a car driven by a hired driver who initiates a conversation with her by asking a series of questions. She answers most of them but looks at him suspiciously as she scribbles some words in her notepad. On getting to her destination, the driver helps her with her luggage, after which he introduces himself as Joe, extending his hands for a handshake. Emma accepts his handshake as she also introduces herself as Mrs. Barrett. He eventually enters his car and drives off as Emma gets settled in the house. She opens the door but sets off the house alarm system, which she quickly disables using the passcode sent by her husband. She then explores the house for a bit before settling in the bedroom to unpack. There, she notices that she can't find her notepad as she frantically searches the bag. Later that evening, while showering, she is startled by a knock on the door. On going to the front porch, she sees no one, but finds a bouquet of roses with a note. She enters back into the house with it as she reactivates the security system. She then pours herself a drink, but in the process, mistakenly tips over a glass of wine, making a mess. She grabs a napkin to clean the mess on the floor, but is interrupted by a car horn outside. She goes outside to meet her husband, Henry Barrett. The couple goes on to share a bottle of wine in the backyard. However, after spending some time outside, Emma suggests that they both go back into the house as she's feeling chilly. There, Henry receives a call from his son, wishing him a happy anniversary. After he ends the call, he heads over to the bedroom, with Emma joining him a while later. After plugging in her phone at the side of the bed, she's hit by a sudden wave of drowsiness, which causes her to lay in bed as Henry tucks her in. Almost immediately, he too becomes extremely drowsy as he falls into bed, sleeping. In the middle of the night, Emma sees flashes of a masked man who breaks into the room, but eventually, she goes back to sleep. The next day, she wakes up in the morning to see a flower with 2 cups of coffee on her table, as well as a happy anniversary card. She notices that her nightgown has also been changed. She wakes Henry up to thank him for the morning gesture, as well as the flowers he sent yesterday, but the couple becomes alarmed when Henry says he was not the one who sent yesterday's flowers, nor was he responsible for the morning gestures, as he was just waking up. They start panicking as they try to call the property authority, only to find that their phones were also taken. They put on their shoes as they go outside, entering Henry's car, but soon come out as they find that the keys have been stolen. Just then, they hear a rustling in the bushes as Henry goes over to inspect it. He leaves, instructing Emma to get inside and lock herself in the house. He eventually comes back to the house with a bloody head, telling Emma that someone had just attacked him. Just then, the house telephone line rings, with Henry picking up the call. The voice on the other end of the call tells him to obey all instructions given to him, as obedience will guarantee their safety, while disobedience will have consequences. They are then instructed to remain in the house and not try to escape. Emma disobeys the instruction, trying to use a stool to break out, but is stunned by a device behind her ear. Henry also tries to disobey an instruction by touching one of the cameras, but also gets stunned by a similar device. The couple then go to their bedroom, shower, and dress up as instructed by the anonymous voice. On guidance of the voice, Emma prepares dinner while Henry opens a laptop containing a folder. He opens it as instructed and watches a video of his wife having sexual relations with an unknown man. Emma sobs as she hears the video while cooking. Afterwards, they are made to have dinner together. An angry Henry questions her about the affair, which she finally admits to, but apologizes, saying she had already stopped it a while back. Henry is outraged regardless and storms off to the bedroom, where Emma meets him. The voice instructs Henry to dance with her. He refuses, but eventually obeys after he is stunned, once again, by the device. The couple is then forced to dance and share a kiss, after which the voice instructs Emma to lay down while Henry makes love to her. Henry hesitates at first but gets into it while Emma tenses up in fear. Henry looks at her frightened face and concludes that he can't do it. He gets off her, disobeying the instruction, and is stunned by the device until blood pours out of his ear. Emma takes him to the bathroom to clean off the blood. There, they apologize to each other, with Henry asking her why she didn't say anything even though she wasn't comfortable having sex with him just a couple of minutes ago. Emma replied that she was scared and just couldn't react. She reminisces of the night of her assault as a clip of the movie's first scene plays, revealing that Emma was the unnamed girl in the car. The next morning, the mysterious voice from the sound system is interrupted by Joe's, the driver from earlier. He had come over to return Emma's notepad, which she forgot in the car. The couple uses a flashlight and scream to get Joe's attention. However, as he approaches the house to help them, he is attacked by the masked man. Emma guesses that the masked man is working alone, and since he was outside attacking Joe, he couldn't monitor them at that moment. She opens a secret pathway beneath a table and crawls in it, while Henry stays behind on the lookout. She only manages to crawl a couple of feet ahead when Henry is attacked by the masked man, after which he pulls her out of the crawl space and injects her with a sedative. The next morning, the couple wake up in bed with a fresh pair of clothes on. They go to the living room and are shocked to find Emma's ex-lover, Ryan, tied to a chair. The anonymous voice states once again that disobedience has consequences, and thus orders Emma to kill Ryan as punishment for trying to escape. She refuses at first, but eventually does it when Henry's life is threatened. The couple then heads to the bedroom where Henry consoles Emma, reassuring her that Ryan's death was not her fault. She agrees that she indeed had no choice, but feels guilty regardless. He offers her a glass of wine while he goes to the living room to clean up the mess, saying that he didn't want her to see Ryan that way. She almost drinks the wine, but remembers how she passed out on the first night after drinking the same wine. She concludes that it may be spiked with sedatives and throws it away while pretending to drink it in front of the surveillance camera. She then lays on the floor pretending to be passed out. A couple of minutes pass and the masked man walks into the room and confirms that she is indeed asleep, after which he walks out. Emma, who was actually awake, stands up and follows the masked man. She makes her way to a hidden room where she sees a video playing on a screen. It was a man making a presentation about an Eden Group, which was a conservative organization that was after upholding the traditional roles of marriage and were against new concepts like feminism and political correctness. It turns out that this group were responsible for the ordeal thus far. She opened a folder on the screen titled Barrett Folder and saw clips of her husband, Henry, helping the masked man carry out various activities like kidnapping Ryan, drugging her, and so much more. This reveals that Henry is also a part of the Eden Group and was the real mastermind after all. She rushes back to her original spot as she sees Henry and the masked man coming back into the house via the surveillance cameras, but not before taking the car keys. Henry comes in and carries Emma to his car. The masked man hands Henry a bunch of car keys, but Henry rejects them, saying those weren't his. As the two go back into the house to search for the keys, Emma removes the device from her neck. However, just before she can start the car, the masked man who is the Eden Group's leader attacks her. She manages to escape and runs into the woods with the man in hot pursuit. The man tries to trigger the device on her neck, but realizes that she has removed it when it fails to activate. Emma sets a trap as he approaches her, hitting him with a shovel, which instantly kills him as he hits his head on a log. At that moment, Henry shows up and sees her just next to the dead man. He becomes instantly wary of Emma, but she acts oblivious to his involvement, claiming she only woke up when she got to the car. Henry, however, is still suspicious and asks her to enter the house, which she reluctantly agrees to. They eventually engage in a tussle, with Emma being stabbed in the leg. However, she manages to escape, using her wedding ring to slash Henry in the face. After much struggle, she manages to activate the device in Henry's ear using the remote she stole from the masked man. She increases the intensity to the maximum as she drops the remote and her wedding ring on the table, leaving Henry to die. As she drives away from the house, she sees a crashed car on the side of the road with Joe, who is still alive, in it. He enters the car saying, "Many thanks, Mrs. Barrett." The movie ends with her rejecting the name and reintroducing herself as Emma. Hopefully you enjoyed this recap as much as we did. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. If you would like to look into other movies with us, be sure to like and click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.